Hi, Gabby Caro here again. I'm an organizational psychology practitioner and coach and the founder of the education platform Hardcore Soft Skills. And in this podcast, in each episode, you will learn how to master a new skill with expert help. And as I continue this series of episodes this week, focusing on lessons of my book, Hardcore Soft Skills, A Guide to Work with Humans. So, in the previous episode, we talked about the aspect of self awareness, and today we're going to talk about empathy. First, let me remind you that if you want to hear previous episodes on this podcast and also see what other learning sessions I have coming up, like webinars and other courses, go to my website, hardcoresoftskillspodcast.com. All right, so going back into the topic of empathy, empathy has become a go to word in terms of business lately, in terms of in the topic of soft skills. And has become very important. But before you think that empathy is just something that is, touchy feely or too soft, let me tell you that the impact of empathy in the workplace, particularly, is very profound, especially if you are a team manager or a leader or of an organization. Because surveys have found that when people reported that their managers were empathetic, those people were more likely to report that they were able to be innovative. And also the engagement rate for people who are part of teams with an empathetic leadership, they reported that they were engaged more at work. Empathy is also at the center of developing better products that customers enjoy because we understand the needs of the customer. As empathy says, we are able to put ourselves in the shoes of the other person. So when we think, how can we become more empathetic? That is just a state of being in terms of just be empathetic. It's also important to remember that this is a skill that we need to practice it. And we can all certainly become better at it by reminding ourselves to just be more empathetic. But here is an exercise that I talk about in the book and that I invite you to do, which refers to just a deliberate practice of being empathetic with your team members or your users. So, what you're going to do is this exercise called a day in the life. So, you go ahead and it's as simple as it sounds that when it comes to a team member, select a team member from that either is a counterpart or perhaps somebody from another department that you interact with a lot. And the purpose here is to be able to understand how your work impact theirs and vice versa, perhaps. So what you're going to do is at the end of life, spend a day understanding what meetings they attend to, what complaints they get to, what products they use, what are their main challenges. The same case I invite you to do with a user if you have access to do that, particularly if you work in the product development cycle, in the product development world, which is that go to a user that allows you to perhaps, if not the whole day, at least a few hours to just being able to interact with that user and understand how they operate with the tool or with the product that you developed or with the service that you provide and understand how they use it. Don't be there to provide guidance, but just be there to understand how they interact with their product, or also to, if it's something that you're about to develop, understand the process, understand how they do their current thing they're doing, what are their main things. And this is different from doing an interview because in an interview, they'll probably tell you things, answer your questions, recall things that they struggled with. But when you have hands on observation with that particular user, or customer, you are able to truly see things that may be evident to them that you're not thinking about, that they're not thinking about, and perhaps that it's surprising to you to learn, and it can help you in the design of that particular product. So practice this exercise today, either selecting a customer or doing it with one of your team members. And you'll be surprised with the results to be able to understand how their day to day is like and being allowed to experience for yourself the ability to be more empathetic. All right, so that's the exercise for today. Tomorrow, we will continue with more skills from my book. And I want to thank you for listening today. And I want to hear from your perspective. How did it go? So I want to hear from that. You can contact me via the contact form on hardcoresoftskillspodcast.com. Thank you for listening.